For decades, China has grown from a poor, isolated nation into the world's second-largest economy. Its power today doesn't come from tanks or missiles. It comes from factories, ports, and global trade. Every smartphone, laptop, and toy sold around the world carries a piece of Made in China, and that economic success has become the foundation of the Chinese Communist Party's legitimacy. So, would China really risk all of that for one island, Taiwan? Let's look at the facts. Part 1. The engine of China's power. China's economy depends on the world. Over 20% of global manufacturing happens inside China's borders. It's the largest exporter on the planet, shipping goods to the United States, Europe, and Asia. Foreign companies, from Apple to Tesla, rely on China's cheap labor and huge consumer base. In return, Beijing gets jobs, taxes, and the stability that keeps its system running. But if China ever attacked Taiwan, that engine would instantly break. Sanctions would hit its banks and companies. Foreign investors would pull out. Exports would collapse. And the Chinese yuan, the national currency, would plummet. Just imagine losing trillions of dollars in trade and triggering a global recession. It would be an economic self-destruction, not a victory. Part 2. Lessons from Russia. Beijing has already seen what happened to Russia after invading Ukraine. Hundreds of billions in reserves were frozen. Banks were cut off from the global system. Multinational corporations disappeared overnight, and Russia's economy shrank dramatically. For China, which is 10 times more integrated into the world economy, the damage would be catastrophic. Unlike Russia, China can't survive on oil and gas alone. It depends on international markets for everything, from semiconductors to machinery and raw materials. If those lifelines were cut, factories would stop, unemployment would rise, and millions of people could lose their jobs. And for the Communist Party, social unrest is the ultimate fear. Part 3. The global web of trade. Today, China trades more with the rest of the world than the United States does. In 2024, its total exports reached nearly $3.5 trillion. Its key partners, the US, the EU, Japan, and South Korea, are also the ones who would oppose any attack on Taiwan. That means any war would instantly destroy the relationships that keep China's economy alive. No more supply chains, no foreign markets, no access to Western technology. Beijing's dream of becoming a global leader by 2049, the 100th anniversary of the People's Republic, would vanish overnight. Part 4. Taiwan's economic role. Ironically, Taiwan itself is one of China's biggest economic partners. In 2024, trade between the two sides reached over $200 billion. Taiwan's semiconductor industry, led by TSMC, supplies chips for China's smartphones, cars, and AI technology. If China attacked, that supply would stop immediately. And without semiconductors, China's tech sector, the pride of its modernization too, would collapse. So in a strange way, China needs Taiwan far more than it needs to control it. Part 5. Business before bullets. China's leaders are not blind to this reality. They know that their power abroad comes from money, not from missiles. That's why Beijing has been investing in the Belt and Road Initiative, buying influence through infrastructure and loans instead of warfare. They build ports, railways, and 5G networks, not military bases. This economic diplomacy gives China control without conflict. As one Chinese strategist once said, "Why shoot when you can buy?" The government's long-term strategy is to make the world depend on Chinese products and investment, including Taiwan. In the future, Beijing believes that economic gravity will pull the island closer without a single shot fired. Part 6. The silent war of numbers. There's already a quiet competition happening, not with armies but with markets. Every time Taiwan sells electronics to China or Chinese tourists visit Taipei, a new invisible link is formed. And every time Chinese companies buy land, media, or local businesses, Beijing gains influence. That's the silent war China prefers. One fought with numbers, not soldiers. A war that brings profit, not destruction. Conclusion. So, will China really start a war that could destroy its own economic empire? Highly unlikely. A full-scale invasion would undo everything the country has built for 40 years. China's leaders want global respect, not chaos. They want skyscrapers, not ruins. They want dominance, but through trade, not trenches. Why shoot when you can buy influence? Comment below. Will China choose business or battle? And don't forget to subscribe to Facts USA and World for more world insights.